This is Joe. Joe was feeling a little angsty one day, so he decided to break the law and deface public property. But then a cop sees him. Couldn't get away with this one, Joe. Joe puts his spray can in his fanny pack. The cop demands to see the contents of Joe's fanny pack, but Joe thinks he knows his rights. You need a warrant to do that, Joe says, but Joe is mistaken. Since the cop saw Joe put the spray can in the fanny pack, the cop can search the pack without a warrant since he has probable cause. Good try, Joe. Not good enough. Joe is being arrested, but due to the Supreme Court case Miranda v. Arizona, the policeman must read Joe his rights, commonly known as Miranda rights. These include the right to remain silent and the right to an attorney. Joe is in the slammer. If he can make bail, that is not excessive, he will be let out. But if he cannot make bail, the city must be able to provide a reason for his detainment due to habeas corpus. But Joe is not guilty yet, due to the Bills of Attainder, which says that no citizen can be found guilty without being tried in front of a jury of his or her peers. This protection is found in Article 1 of the Constitution and the Fifth Amendment. Joe has a right to a speedy and public trial. But before that happens, Joe needs to be indicted by a grand jury. Since there is reason to believe he may have committed the crime, he is indicted. Now Joe gets a trial. Joe has a right to an attorney, who will defend him in court. He also has a right to a jury, but he can waive this right if he so chooses. He does not have to testify against himself. Joe has the right to see, hear, and confront any witnesses testifying against him, in this case, the policeman. He can also call a witness in his defense, but Joe has no witnesses. The evidence against him is the spray can. Since the evidence was legally obtained, it could be used against him. Since the evidence against him is overwhelming and there is no reasonable doubt he is innocent, the jury finds the defendant guilty. The judge wants to sentence him to death via public stoning, but he cannot since the Eighth Amendment protects against cruel and unusual punishment. He instead sentences Joe to 30 hours of community service and a fine of $500. After serving his sentence, Joe learns the error of his ways, but that cop really hates Joe. The cop wants to charge Joe again with defacing the same piece of public property, but Joe knows his rights and knows he is protected from double jeopardy. But then a law is passed saying it is illegal to obscure a spray can from view of an officer. This cop lobbied heavily for that law. The cop wants to charge Joe with this, but since Joe committed that crime before it was illegal, Joe cannot be charged due to ex post facto protections in Article 1 of the Constitution. Yay, Joe!